And let's complete our chats getting ready for UFC Fight Night on Saturday. Let's welcome back to the program Maycee Barber. Maycee, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing fine, thank you. I know it's just the beginning. It's fight week. It's Wednesday. You're just starting to do your media stuff. What's fight week like for you, and how do you get through it?
Fight week it's a good time, It's pretty easy. I cut weight, take some pictures, do some media and interviews, and honestly just hang out and know that the hard work has been put in, and we're ready to go, and I'm ready to shine.
Fight is Wednesday, Thursday, about 3 nights, from now. So
Yep.
Do you like old Rocky Balboa, photo on the mirror, you're concentrating Saturday night, or do you just try to get through each day and not think about and not center on the fight on Saturday?
I kind of take it as it comes. Sometimes, I like to very much just focus and get ready, and other times, my body's like, nope, we're just gonna laugh and have a good time, and just again know that the process has already been and the work has already been put in, and I really don't try to force anything. So I'm always working on my mental training and everything, but at the same time I'm here to enjoy fight week and put on a performance.
I remember my good friend Eve Edwards would always say, the work is up until you get to fight week, and then the fight itself. That's the reward for everything that you've put yourself through to get here.
It really is. I spent the last 15 weeks thinking and planning and preparing for this moment. So at the end of the day, all the training, all the conditioning, my body's ready. I'm ready to go. So it's just enjoy the fight week. Let your body relax and cut the weight, and then it really is a reward. This is it's our payday. It's our time to shine. It's our time to go and show our coaches and ourselves, all the effort and all the work that we put in, because this is really it's not like a test. It's
school, and
it's the showcase, it's the final stage where you get to actually show all that effort that's been put in. So it's really like a celebration. So
it's kind of like this is school and Saturday is your first day of summer.
Yeah, except it's way cooler than that. It's honestly, it's something that's completely hard to describe to anybody unless you've done it, but it really is just a moment. And it's also something where, you're planning and preparing for this person to get into a cage with them and be locked inside and know that there's really nothing that can stop you guys from hurting each other. And it's one of those moments where you can really let loose and just feel the most freedom as an athlete, and just really let that beast out of you.
When you say that, you get in the octagon, they lock the doors, and you can literally hurt each other, is the adrenaline so strong that you don't necessarily feel the pain, you don't feel the hurt until the end of the round or sometimes the end of the fight?
Yeah, no, that's totally true, because I've had many people be like, I don't want to get punched in the face, and you really don't feel it. I tore my ACL in a fight and didn't feel it until the second, third round, because the first time that I tore it, the adrenaline was so high, it felt very awkward, but it wasn't oh my gosh, I'm in excruciating pain until, you really settle into the fight and you realize that you're oh, okay, now I start to feel things. But I've had a cut on my head from an elbow, and I didn't even feel it. It just felt hot. You don't feel anything. I'm sure there's other fighters that would tell you otherwise, but there's sometimes where you get hit and you're oh, I'm going to feel that tomorrow, or I'm going to feel that the next day. But you don't really necessarily feel it in the moment.
Right.
So Maycee, do you, obviously, your last 5 fights have been in Las Vegas. This time you get to travel to Texas. Do you like to travel? Do you like to fight? Or do you feel more comfortable fighting in Vegas since the last 5 of your fights have been there?
I do. I really enjoy traveling and fighting. Even though I'm traveling to Vegas, I'm still traveling, to fight. So I love going and seeing all the crowds. I love Texas. I fought here. This will be, I think, my 4th fight in Texas. Love the energy, love the crowd, and I'm super excited about that. So, yeah, I definitely like traveling to fight.
I always ask all of the fighters, it's a work week. I mean, this is all work, but you still want to enjoy the day, the week, your life, etc. Do you get the opportunity, to get out? Like I was just talking to Austin about, the crystal caves that are there in San Antonio, which is something I've never seen before in my life. But it's a work week. So how do you determine what you can go and do and what you can't do? And, not necessarily take your eye off the prize, but, to relax and enjoy the week as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you sit down and you think about just, I'm fighting in a few days, you're just like, anticipating it's going to feel like a long time. For me, we're going to go out and walk around a little bit, but that's good to stay moving. You don't want to just like completely not move, So for me, we're going to go out and walk around, but usually we don't do a whole lot until after, the media's all done. And then Wednesday is kind of the day that like the later afternoon is for walking around and just lightly cutting a little bit. And then Thursday is all focused on the fight week, the fight cut. And yeah.
So Maycee, so obviously I'm not, obviously not going to overlook your current opponent, Andrea Lee coming up on Saturday, but having the experience and taking the current champion the distance to a decision, have you thought about, after watching the Shevchenko fight, about what the future looks like?
Yeah, I have. I never want to obviously overlook the opponent that I have, but at the end of the day, like every fight camp that I'm training and every day that I train, I'm training for the champion. I'm not training for number 15 in the world. I'm not training for number 10 in the world. I'm training for number 1 in the world. And that's what I'm getting ready for. So obviously every opponent that I fight is another, roadblock that you have to knock out of the way. But for me, the end goal is that destination and is the belt. So that's always going to be on my mind. But yeah, I mean, every girl has that, in their mind. So it's just kind of like, you're trying to take something that I'm working for, and I'm trying to take something you're working for, and I know that I'm going to come and take it.
Speaking of which, not looking past Saturday night, give me your thoughts on your opponent.
I'm definitely excited. I think that she's good, but I know that I'm better, and I'm ready to go out and prove that. I think this is a fight where I go out and I get a finish, and that's exactly what I'm going to go out and do.
I always ask this, the walkout, whether it's your first walkout or your last walkout, what are you thinking? Are you so not thinking that you are thinking? I mean, I just can't imagine what's running through someone's mind as they're getting ready to go get in the cage and get in a fist fight.
I mean, honestly, every single time is different because there's times where, like, I walk out and the energy is just so high, you can't help but smile. Like, for me, it's something that, like, I feel like it's just feeding me and I'm soaking it in, and it just makes me so happy. When I fight in the Apex, it's a little bit different because there's not that same crowd and energy, so it feels a lot more like, not flat, but just different,
Right.
And it feels
like
more raw.
almost like training. Doesn't it feel almost like training in the Apex?
Like, yeah, yeah, it's a little crazy. But I love the walkout. The walkout is always different every single time I fight. But usually when there's a crowd, it's a lot. It's always the best.
Fighters have always told me, that I can't hear the crowd. I only hear my coaches. I only hear, teammates that may be in row 2. How can you block out certain tones and certain voices, but not others?
I don't truly know, like, the total answer to that, because I feel like there's a level of, like, because you train and you're around them so much and you are hearing their voices constantly, like, your body, it's being trained to search for that specific voice and that specific coach. And also, I think that our subconscious already knows what they're going to tell us to do. Like, if my corner wants me to throw a jab full cross, like, they can already, like, I already know that they want that because we've been training that for so long, So I think our bodies are intuitively, like, doing it on its own, and then it kind of looks like, oh, they're doing exactly what their coach wants. you know. But then also, I think we also are trained to really just like search that voice out and search that coach out in the corner and just drown out everything else, you know.
Well, and it's good to drown everything else out, you know, as we're sitting there and the guy to my left is screaming to go do this, and the person to my right is screaming, you know, do a foot stomp, and I'm like, can you all just be quiet and enjoy the fight?
Oh yeah, I mean, fight fans are crazy, and you know, when you mix alcohol and fans and adrenaline and just like, I mean, people hitting each other in a sport like we are in, you know, it gets chaotic. So, fight fans are great, but fight fans are also crazy.
So basically,
Is now when I do the Ric Flair woo?
Oh, he can. No, but you're absolutely right about in the fight game. You know, when you're in that fearful situation, when the bell rings and you go into a sympathetic response, everything slows down, everything fades away, except for the voice that you've conditioned yourself previously to listen to for trust and advice, and so that's exactly what's going on there.
It's crazy because the only other voice that I hear a lot of the time is my mom. And I'm convinced that it's because she's that one lady at the fights that's always so loud. And I always hear my mom. It's great.
Well, what's it like, you know, for her to watch you?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't do what she does. You know, I think that I'm like, oh, people tell me all the time, you're crazy for doing what you do. And I'm like, my mom is crazy for going and watching me because I couldn't imagine my child going out and getting locked in the cage with another person and sitting there through that. You know, I think it's a very stressful time for her, and I think
my family, we were just talking about this the other night. So my son was playing high school soccer. He was the goalie. He got kicked in the face. Half of the parents in the bleachers ran to go check on my son, except for my wife and I. We just sat there. We're like, it's not our place to run on the field. So I'm curious, which is she? Is she the type that, you know, she's yelling, or is she just watching you perform?
my mom helped me take a shower and like wash my hair out because I couldn't stand up. So she was that person, you know, like when they come to the field, like that's my mom. She's coming to the field. She's coming to help me wash the blood out of my hair, and it was really sweet. So like my mom is there, and my dad's there, and my family's there. All of them are there, you know, but it's all a time and place.
Good stuff. Yeah, I would wash, you know, my son's hair and all that stuff, you know, in the shower at home. We're just, you know, it's not our place to run on the field. Maycee,
Exactly, yeah.
thank you very much for your time. Enjoy Saturday night. I know you will. I know we have your address. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as a box of salsa from Blue Smoke Salsa. Enjoy the gifts, and more importantly, enjoy Saturday night.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you again soon. Maycee Barber returns to the program and returns to the Octagon on Saturday night in